sum it all up, Ian. You've got the centre stage now.
How long do you have, Stu? I mean, yeah, it's
15
I suppose
years.
we were
15 years.
15 years and the rest. Yeah, we I suppose we were lucky enough to commentate on it. It probably wasn't the highest quality of international game you've seen, but certainly in terms of drama, particularly in that sort of last 5 minutes, you're not going to see a more exciting game, I suppose, for the neutral. And I suppose me with my Italian hat on, I was obviously delighted to see that Italy put in a performance. Granted, it was against 14 men for 14 minutes, and France, I know we'll get onto them and maybe their decline, I suppose, since the World Cup. But there was a performance there, much improved from the Ireland one, and yeah, the whole talking point of the last kick with Paolo Garbisi and how in the name can the ball, whenever it's a covered roof, the ball slip off the tee, and with the potential of 3 infringements from the French team in the lead up to that last kick and hitting the post. It's sort of you couldn't script it, and in a way that you could just write a book solely about that last 5 minutes. Even Matt saying off air there, France's decisions to run with ball in hand the whole time. Even Mo Fana, when he gets the ball rebounded off the post, still looking to run inside their 22. It's sort of it had everything, but it's brought up huge questions as well about the shot clock and everything like that. But it's normally with the Italian game, sometimes we can be a bit frustrated watching and commentating on them that there isn't much drama, but this certainly had enough in spades.
I'm sticking with you, Ian, while we've got you. You're Paolo Garbisi or Ian McKinley. Should you have another opportunity to win the match after that incident off the tee in the last play with the kick?
Yeah, I suppose to the letter of the law, he should have had another opportunity. I think you can, for me, I suppose you look at potentially the 3 infringements, of 2 French players moving and having a water carrier there in the middle of it. But I suppose when you're, I was sort of thinking back now, I didn't have a kick to win an international game, maybe with Italy, but I was thinking back to my own days of kicking and had an incident with the Ospreys where something similar happened and my penalty conversion went up off the post, and there was the Ospreys winger that charged it, and I got to retake it. But that came, from me saying to the ref, "Oh look, he's moving," but the referee sort of being involved in that moment. Now, in fairness to Christoph Ridley, I thought throughout the game he was very good and got the majority of things right. There is question marks. Could the TMO have come in, or probably more from my point of view, could the Italian players in that moment have just, you talk about game management, and game management is even in those scenarios, you need a cool head. And you could see when Manuel Giuliani went over the ball and everyone was so pumped up, and it isn't a gimme kick, it's it's still, it is central, but with all that pressure, the goalpost can seem an awful lot thinner. So I know Garbisi has come out and said he's apologized. He doesn't need to. That's part of sport. You get them. You sometimes don't get them, and that's what you train for. But definitely, if I was within the Italian leadership rank, you'd be definitely having a little word with the ref to say, look, they've charged a couple of times just to make Christoph Ridley think, I suppose. But I suppose if we're to get into Garbisi's head, he has about 6 seconds from when he puts the ball on the tee again to make a kick. So if that shot clock runs down, you can only imagine what would be said or written about you if you ultimately didn't get that kick through. We've seen a few examples in the World Cup, Farrell as well, that the shot clock ran dead. So imagine you had an opportunity to kick a winning goal to beat France for the first time since being in the Six Nations away from home, and you didn't complete that kick. So maybe, I'm not in his head, but maybe that was going through his thought process as well.
Matt, Paolo Garbisi said, "It's part of my job to put the kick over. I take full responsibility for that. I'm sorry for the team and all their supporters. It's my bad and I will work on it." Water carriers, players running at you, you must sympathise with them.
Yeah, I definitely do. With any kicker that comes into that situation. Our sport is the ultimate team sport. We have different size people for different positions, different physical qualities to play the game, and then it comes down to one person's individual skill. And with the way our laws are, with penalties, 3 points for a penalty, that's a lot in any sport when you only get 5 points for the try. So I do always feel for goal kickers. I hate watching penalty shootouts in soccer because I always feel sorry for the person that misses one. They've got to carry that for the rest of their life. So
you don't, Matt. You don't, Matt. That's the excitement. That's the excitement.
I hate it. I can't watch it. I don't like it anyway. But I don't watch much football these days. I haven't got time. But Garbisi, look, I got to say, I fell for Ian. We're old mates, and I know Ian and I have a joke that he's got a bottle of champagne there that we're going to open when we have a good win.
It's gathering dust.
It's been a while, mate, hasn't it? I'm getting a bit thirsty. So I wouldn't mind a glass of your champagne, but we text each other every now and then with the jokes back in the fridge. But I thought that last 60 seconds, a bit on Ian's point, it was a mad last few minutes, because if you consider it's 13-all, and both teams wanted to win, neither team wanted a draw. A draw was certainly not acceptable to the French, and the Italians wanted to win. So the French get the ball, and they're 30 metres from their try line, and it's close to full time. And I'm thinking, any error here is a penalty, and Italy can kick this. Why don't you kick it down the end of the field, the Italian end, because they're not going to kick it out because they want to win. But now the pressure's on them to play, and you can get a shot at goal. But the French kept playing and playing and playing. And here's the one really good point, or not one, but one of the really good points for the Italians was their defence in that game was really good. Like in the first half, when France had 15 players in the field, they just pounded and pounded and pounded the Italian try line. And the Italians, to their credit, tackled their hearts out. Now, we only have to look back a few months to the World Cup, beaten by almost 70 by the French at the World Cup, and then 90 by the Kiwis. And their defensive efforts had fallen away ridiculously at the World Cup. And again, against Ireland, I thought they were quite poor in defence, but they did much better in that half. And the French should have been respected that, being a man down and kicked the ball. They didn't. But then when the Italians got the ball, I thought there wasn't a lot of calm heads, as Ian said there. They pointed to the post straight away, so the clock starts straight away. They could have bought themselves a few seconds by just saying, "Oh, we'll make a decision in a moment, sir. Get your breath back. Where's our captain?" It's Michel Lamaro, and saying, "What are we doing?" You just buy yourself 10 seconds of that time. They didn't. They pointed straight away. So the clock started while they were all still hugging each other because they'd done so well at the breakdown. That whole time I thought was poorly managed. And I agree with it. We put that much pressure on our officials to make – I think there was so much happening. I really felt for them. I particularly felt for the Italians. I thought they deserved to win in the end there. But that's the game, isn't it? By the stretch of a goalpost, they lose. And well, they didn't lose. It was a draw. But I think both teams felt they lost the draw. Sometimes some teams feel they win the draw. But I think both teams could feel that they lost that draw that day.